Now I'm giving you a disclaimer right now. Parental advisory is highly suggested for this video. I do not want to be responsible for anything that kids or adults may do with the information you receive in this video. As I've told you before, I was a horrible kid. I was a very bad kid. And we were very poor. But you still gotta eat. My mom did not have a babysitter during the summertime to babysit us, and we were old enough to kind of be on our phone. Not on our phone, be on our own. And it's not like today. Today, the things that I'm about to tell you, you cannot do any of this today. Any of it. You will be in so much trouble. But this is the 80s we're talking about. This is years ago. When I tell these stories, I'm telling these stories from, now it's 30, almost 40 years ago, some of these. Yeah, times have changed. So when people get on here and they're like, oh, that didn't happen, or I'll call BS, or you're really not remembering how good Gen X really had it. And before then, the generation before that, yeah, they may not have had the technology and things that we have today, all the creature comforts, but there was some comforts, and I think they lived a pretty good life. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be making historical movies and things where we're like, oh, that's neat, and we bring back certain things from the past, from the 1880s. But let's get back on subject. I was a horrible kid. And when I was growing up, it wasn't a T.D. Jakes or these mega preachers that you see now. We had Jim Baker and Tammy Faye, and you guys know. You guys know a few of them. But there's one thing that's true with religion. There's always a building fund. I don't care if you're SDA, Baptist, Catholic, Mormon, Jew, whatever you are. There is always a building fund. They are always trying to expand. And it's another one of the reasons why I dropped out of the church. I just couldn't do it anymore. The church was getting bad. They were hypocrites in what they said. So what the church would end up doing was our church had a building fund. So I didn't lie about that. I didn't lie about that. The building fund, they'd have these fundraisers, and they had this little cup, looked like a can of peas or beans or something. And it'd be hollowed out, and it would have a little cover that you put over the top, and then a slot in the center of it where people could put money or change or whatever they wanted to do. What we would do is this is another one of the things, just like Wednesday night prayer meeting, I hated this. They would send you out canvassing on, let's say, Sunday, and you take a certain block of houses. Sister such and such would take this block, and brother such and such would take this block, and the elder and the kids would have to go, and they would usually have, a group of 2 to 3 kids that you would go to canvass the neighborhood to collect offering to bring back for this building fund. And a lot of times, as you know, these buildings don't get built. So where's the money? I'm not justifying what I did. I'm just saying. I'm looking, I'm figuring out that it's a lot of money going in, but there's nothing coming back. They always had this chart too. You remember the chart? They had this chart with a little temperature gauge, and it would say 5,000, 50,000, whatever the goal was. And every Saturday, which is when I went, or Sunday, because we went to some churches that were on Sunday as well, they would take a little marker, and we got this much. God bless us. We got this much to go to the building fund. And I was like, something's not right, because brother such and such just pulled up in a new Lincoln or a new Cadillac, or he got on a new suit, and he keeps getting these suits. What's going on? Summertime comes around. We usually would have an activity, or sometimes we stay home, But this particular summer, my mother said, we're taking you to the mall. And she would drop us off at the mall because it was close to her work, her job at that time. And she'd leave us. And we would be there a good part of the summer, every day from whatever the work hours were, 8 to 5, and she'd give us $5. 3 kids, $5 in the 80s was okay, but that wasn't gonna feed you. That wasn't gonna, it wasn't doing much. So if you wanted to eat, if you wanted to survive, if you wanted to have some money, you had to figure out a way to get money. And hey, so what I'm gonna leave that alone. We went to this mall, and in Huntsville, Alabama, they have the most creative naming for their malls. Like here, you have Polaris Mall, you have Easton Shopping Center, you would have Westland Mall, which is now tore down, and Northland Mall. I think this was either called Huntsville Mall or the Mall. I forget which one it was, but it was one of those. Somebody just said, hey, we got the money. Let's not spend a bunch on advertisement. Let's just call it the Mall. So like I said, they called it the Mall. They had an arcade. At that time, before it was Petland, if you guys know or have a Petland in your area, that's a pet store that has all these dogs and cats and things. And I worked at Petland for a little bit. But at that time, it was called like Dr. Pet or something like that, or Dr. X. We'd go, and they had a McDonald's, of course, and we'd take that $5, and at that time, you could get a couple cheeseburgers. They had some meals. I think the cheeseburgers were like 60 cents, something like that. And a fry might have been $1 or so. But we would get a cup of water because we didn't have enough for a drink. We'd get a cup of water. Once we got the water, we'd drink the water, we'd empty out the cup and wipe it out. So I wasn't gonna be hungry. So me and my brother decided, hey, we gotta make some money. He had this saying, paper and panties, baby, paper and panties. He said, the one thing I can talk you out of is your paper or your panties. And we emptied out these cups, dried them out, put the lid on, and we went out, and he'd take an entrance, him and my sister would take an entrance because they were younger and they could, yell if somebody was gonna accost them. But back then you didn't really worry about that. There was missing kids and things, but nothing like today. At least it wasn't in Huntsville, Alabama. So we're standing out in front of this mall. We got this little cup, and there was a saying that you would say. Now again, we didn't lie. We said we didn't lie. We took up a collection plate. We took up the offering plate outside the mall. We did God's work. There was a saying that we had when we would have to go door to door, and people would, like little kids, we say, I am a little missionary trying to do my part. If you will give an offering, God will bless your heart. And bless your heart, we got to eat that day. We got to play some video games. And we did this throughout the whole summer. We canvassed for, we were there for 8-9 hours. We would canvass for probably a good 3 to 4 hours. We'd come back in and get, some drinks and things. But we canvassed, and we would get about $40 a day. We get about $40 a day canvassing. Now, what we did do was, we said we going to hell for this. We are going to hell, but let's do what we see all these other people do. Brother Jenkins and all of them, he got a new Cadillac. Sunset's got a new suit. We'll give 10%. So we each got 10% out of what we made, and we put it back into the plate on Saturday, on the Sabbath, on the holy day. And that's how we made it. There was no way we were going to be able to eat and do whatever we needed to do and shop like other people, or have fun in a mall and not get in trouble without getting some money. Am I going to hell for it? I think I've had enough karma. I think I've had enough karma that's come back around that I have atoned that sin. But yeah, like I told you, I had one guy in the Sunday school, Sabbath school, call me El Diablo. He said I was the devil. He said I was sent straight from hell to torment him. But that's what we would do. We'd canvas, and we'd get the money. We'd come back in. We'd go to a little corner that didn't have any cameras. We'd count our money out. We'd go to McDonald's or whatever little shops were around. I just remember McDonald's was around, and we had a McDonald's cup. And the people would ask, why is it a McDonald's cup? And we would tell them, hey, they ran out of cups or whatever. Now, we did lie about that. They ran out of cups to give us for the offering. So we're just out here today doing this. They said, oh, okay. And it'd be coins, it'd be dollars, and we'd go in, we'd trade our coins, we'd play arcade, we'd eat, shop a little bit. We hustled. And that's how we made. I don't remember if my parents really remember that or not. I don't know if we ever got caught for it or if we told them. I do remember that we put some back in the offering plate. I do remember standing out front and talking to people and jingling that little can. We jingled the can with a little change in it. So we were panhandling of sorts, but you couldn't just tell people, hey, I like $1 for this, or I'm hungry or whatever, because if you did that, they'd ask where your mom is, and at that time there's no cell phones. So then you're going to some office and you're in trouble. You got to sit there all day. Then you can't come back to the mall or the shopping center or Huntsville Mall or whatever it was. So you just had to be creative. I think I've told a little bit more than what I had planned to, but it's the truth. It's what happened. It's memories that I have that we have fun with. So, hey, again, you can't do that these days. You will get in trouble. I can't do, with all the cameras and the cell phones and things, you can't drop your kids. First off, because most of your kids are bad as hell, so you could never get away with that. We knew if we got in trouble, there was consequences, severe consequences. And we knew that if we did not want to shame our family name. So whether we were at the library, we got dropped off there one time, the mall, a swimming pool, that was the worst one. And there was a couple other places, but we didn't act up. We knew better than to have to explain why we were there alone, and we knew how to conduct ourselves and stay in the shadows. So again, hey, I hope wherever you guys are, whatever you're doing, you are having a great day. And until next time, there's going to be a next time. Be safe. And with that, I'm out.